Feels weird to say this, folks, but we are getting into the fourth and final matchup of the day. It's going to be Aqualix taking on Arial Arise. Cookies, it feels weird, I don't know, calling them Aqualix without Gasher. I don't know. Is this Aqualix? What team are we looking at?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Penguin, what's he doing here? Never in my days, I never would have expected that Penguin I would be ever talking about him in CL again, but here we are. I'm here for it. Hat. I thought Hat was gonna retire. Hat was saying in Twitch chat, I'm done with this. I'm gonna be a scholar. Why are you on Aqualyx now? That's actually nasty. His stats may have not showed it from last day, but he has that Hemmington in him. And of course, A for Beastly and Psychosis. They are the reigning trio of Challenge League champions at this juncture. So this Aqualyx team, even without Lagasher, who is now on Team Solo Mid, this Aqualyx team is literally just as good. I mean, there's little pros.
The consolation prize for losing Gasher and getting Penguin and Hat, not the worst consolation prize you can get. So maybe they are still Aqualyx. We'll have to see if Beastly can hold up that that image. But Connor, moving over to Arial Arise, a team that, man, every time we expect they had a good stage, but not a great stage, and we expect so much more from this team.
Yeah, it almost feels it's the same kind of testament of what we were saying with Aqualyx without Gasher. It feels weird to say Arial Arise without the freaking Mohes combination, because Mohes was just yoinked straight to Mirage, and then they added a former Mirage player in Quartz, so I guess it's like kind of like a weird trade deal of like going into the past and pulling here. But regardless, we still also see Tone stepping in for Reed Sync, and I think that that's a really good change for this roster. But biggest kind of eyes are going to be cast towards Quartz, and with really big shoes to fill against Mohes, who was a massive part of this roster.
You know what? I'll be perfectly honest. I'm interested. I wouldn't say I like the pickups for both teams yet, because we still have to see how it plays out, but I'm very intrigued on both sides. Cookies, without Gasher now, looking into Aqualyx, Beastly leading the way, IGLing possibly by himself at this point. What does the makeup of this team look? What do you expect us to think about this team?
I agree. You didn't even have to say anything. I read your facial expression. Like, this guy, first off, you just said you don't like the roster. Did you just say you're not sure on Aqualyx? Is that what you just said, Brimstone, on air?
No, I said I'm interested in both of the changes. I said we'll have to see it. Because look, they got great players. Already? They both got great players, but they both lost great players.
You just dissed, but you said solo IGL Beastly. You just dissed the Keegan Penguin Smith's IGLing capabilities.
Yeah, like anyone that's asking the question, did they get if you go from the Gasher system to any other system in NA, there's like two people that I would say like rival the Gasher system. It's Penguin and like Super, who is retired. They have a perfectly fine IGL system going. They're going to be just fine in that regard. And literally everyone on this team.
All I'm saying, hear me out.
What are you saying? I want to hear this.
2 stages in a row, going through major, IGL changes. It's like, take like a football team or a hockey team, something like that. If you're changing the head coach every season, the players are sitting there going like, hey, they might all be great head coaches, but if it's a different game plan every stage, man, that's a lot of learning to do.
Nah, it's like going from Bill Belichick to Nick Saban. There's no difference. Matter of fact, they actually played together. Penguin made Gasher. Yeah, I said it. So yeah, this team's gonna be just fine. I think they're probably the most primed team to ever repeat in CL history, up there with PB.
Is this also a record? I think we have a record for least characters used in a critical point, because there's like 15 on that top row and 2 on the bottom row. I could fit in a tweet. That's an easy tweet right there.
It's an easy talking point. I don't think they got worse at all.
Okay, let's talk a bit about Arial Arise then. Did they get... I would have laughed. First, I was half expecting I was half expecting the exact same critical point to come up.
I thought about it, but you kind of got to give credit where credit is due, because Tones is stepping in from a sub role onto a roster where he came in, emergency sub, got to play 2 play days, and brought Arial Arise from the brink of relegation up to like mid-table. In just 1 weekend, they got 5 points. It was absolutely massive, and he actually saw some of the best knock play out of the entire stage coming out of this man just popping in. He just appear inside of the bomb site, kill the smoke, and then run away and get away scot-free. It was absolutely wild. But he's bring that same energy because with the loss of Mohes, a lot of the fragging capability has been lost on the side of Arial Arise. This is a roster that wasn't necessarily the most frag intensive team anyways. They were sort of underwhelming at points in the frag department. And kind of the rest of that, Tones is picking up some of the slack of Mohes, and the rest is gonna have to be Quartz. And Quartz, we've seen some inconsistencies. We've seen him absolutely pop off on Game and Gladiators in some games, and then if he doesn't show up, the entire team flopped last stage. Now he has a lot better of a supporting crew and should be enabled a good bit, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, a critical piece of this team, because we know when, like, I can't say it better, but when Quartz shows up, he's a game changer, like no question about it. But there are games where he's been very, very quiet.
Is he a rock star?
Cookies, let's just get to the map, Veto.
Let's get the show on the road. Okay. There's enough talking, enough hype. Let's see where we're going. And we just talked about Aqualix. They had quite the swap in IGLing. I would say that there were some overlaps in terms of quality maps between those two. I would say that Penguin and Gasher both called a good Villa. Both of them liked Villa. And that's so much so that Arial Rise will ban that out. That's actually one of the maps I had down is one that would have been quite interesting. Instead, we're going to a clubhouse. A clubhouse. Aqualix banning theme park in there as well. Where they have, at least with the old team, they had a couple good wins there. But I guess a couple good games, I would say, rather. We're going to go to an equalizer map. Nonetheless, regardless of that, we're going to an equalizer map. Through and through, Connor. This is a map where things are definitely going to get hairy for both teams. And I'm not sure, honestly, how to call it due to the nature of the map.
I think it definitely is going to be hard.
Connor, I think, I don't want to say this towards Cookies, because I think he's just going to get mad at me again, thinking I'm questioning the roster changes, that I could possibly be saying anything bad about these people. But I think it's the team that they've both undergone big changes in their rosters, and I think the team that adapts the most to those changes the quickest, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, I think is the team that's going to come out on top today.
Yeah, and I would be remiss of my sort of involvement in a desk analyst trio if I didn't give Forceful a word here, even though he's not here. He has always said the clubhouse, guess what kind of map that is? It's a freak map. That's where freak, he will just walk up a staircase and get a couple of kills. That's why Tanner's going for Arial
Would you
Rise.
call it the Great Frequalizer?
It could be a frequalizer map. It could indeed, but I'm sticking with Aqualix. I like the changes that they made. We can talk about Leg Asher this, Leg Asher that. The Leg Asher system found success, but now it's kind of a Keegan Penguin Smith revenge arc. I've done my fair share of being a Parabellum fan. I've always liked what Penguin has brought to the table, and now he's going in with Aqualix, and I think he's going to be a little bit unhinged. He's going to go a little bit crazy.
So, Cookies, let's go back to the IGL talk then. Is it now who head IGLs here? Because we're not talking, a 1A, 1B. One of these guys is going to be leading up the team. Does that fall on the shoulders of Penguin, or does Beastly still have a bit of say in this team?
I mean, Beastly had a say last stage, right? And then I think we do a whole lot of Penguin talking or whatever, but Beastly doesn't get enough credit. On Arial Rise 2 years ago, oh my god, a year and a half ago. Can't believe I said that. It's been a while, but Beastly, when he was on that team and they dropped him unceremoniously, he was a difference maker for them. He was the glue, as a lot of people would say. No difference on this Aqualix team. He definitely has a say, and I definitely think it's going to be, in the most respectful way, Penguin has a massive E-word ego. He's not gonna just be silent and say this is Beastly's team. There's no way. Penguin's gonna have a lot of say, trust me. And it's gonna be for the better. I say Penguin has an ego because it's just like we just watched Mr. B talk crazy on the interview. You want that out of your leader. Me personally, I would run through a brick wall if my guy is confident and believes in his team. And Penguin actually said that too. Like, he joined Aqualix because he thought this team could be a bunch of winners.
Mhm.
We'll see
Do
today.
we-
Sure.
Do we know offhand, Connor, where these two teams left off in the overall standings? Aqualix had to be up there, didn't they?
Mhm.
They were.
I believe
they
they,
were-
snuck into the 4th place
Yeah.
slot with the
Yeah.
last couple of points. And then Arial
And-
Arise, I think, is in 5th. I mean, they're neck and neck.
Yeah, because Ariel had that fantastic stage one, very
Mhm.
very good stage one, and that questionable last stage, and Aqualix was able to swoop in. Do we possibly see these two teams duking it out, possibly for that 4th playoff spot?
I think that that is a very real possibility. And, I think you grabbed a crystal ball and you were looking, you're like, ooh, the future. Because, I mean, it's a pretty easy read, but still
Mhm.
took some skill. I'll give you some credit, Brim. I'll give you credit where it's due.
Me? Okay. Well, what we are going to do is we're going to flip to a quick 4-minute break. Just a few technical issues, but when we come back, we'll have the action for all of you guys.
Welcome back, everybody, after that very small break, at least, small in the grand scheme of the infinite expanse of the universe and time. We're finally ready to get into the game, John. We have Clubhouse as our final map of the day. Start out with a strategically deep map like Villa, and we're ending with Mid-House, as I would like to call it. But I would have it no other way in Challenger League. You gotta get both sides of the both poles, both extremes.
As Adesh said, it was not only an equalizer map, but a freak equalizer map too. Normally it was the freaking Mo show, that's what we would call it, but now that Mohesi is not there might be a couple of vacant spots that need to be filled for Arial Rise, but with myself predicting them to win, I'm assuming they're able to do just that. For Aqualyx's style of play, this is definitely a map that also can favor them too. You can just kind of go into gunfights and, sometimes haphazardly take them and win it. But if Arial Rise are able to counter that very aggressive style of play that Aqualyx have almost always had, no matter who's on their roster, this could most definitely be a win for them, especially since this is a comfortable selection for Arial Rise, not just Aqualyx. So truly, I think this is going to be a very close matchup, just like we saw on Bank between Luminosity and Viper. I would not be shocked if we see a full 12-round match or even over.
And especially when you have AQ picking up Hat, who is a very aggressive player, always playing the entry. And you also have Penguin, who is probably outside of the building a little bit too early and too often for playing the supporting role he played on Parabellum. you know things are going to get aggressive. And the only one you might be able to count on staying in the building and not dying early is Beckstock. And we can always appreciate Beastly for just chilling and being usually the only normal dude on this psychotic Aqualix roster. So starting out for Clubhouse, of course, the Arial Rise of the defense, they will start in the basement because John tends to be one of the only sites that sometimes goes the defense's way. You're certainly not going to start with CCTV, and even then, gym bedroom can be a little bit hectic, so we can always count on old reliable, that being Church and Arsenal. However, I will say, because of the presence of the Castle and the Bandit, we can expect quite a bit of off-site presence, especially in the early round, trying to stall out the attack from entering the map via maybe Plat Wall or Jacuzzi. And even then, once they open those up, still funneling them certain ways and denying certain openings for those castle barricades. And overall, being able to have some mute jammers spread throughout to make all those in-between places hard to drone. Aerial Rise will likely at least try to waste 45 seconds, if not half the round. And that might just be the low estimate for what they're hoping for.
I also wouldn't be shocked if maybe we have Jay use some bandit batteries above. Seems a little unnecessary because you're also going to utilize those mute jammers for wall denial, but if you have Jay with the batteries playing your Jacuzzi, for example, you can not only trick the wall, but also have those jammers utilized solely for info denial. And if you're not able to have all too much info going into a gunfight, especially on the offense, you could end up dragging yourself into a lion's den. That is just something you're not going to be well trained for, well prepared for, even if you have a whip like you're Indiana Jones. But so far, we've got relatively normal push coming out through by Aqualix. They'll try to get some poking and prodding down in through Lodge and then begin to work their way over near Jacuzzi. And still with a couple of bandit batteries left for Jay. I believe once those grenades go off, he might just hop the rotate and try to trick the wall to waste even more time and resources against Aqualix.
Hat cooking that nade, waiting to throw it in. It finally sails onto the drone hole, and Jay goes in for the bandit trick. Beastly, ooh, lets it go down. There's no follow-through from AQ on this attack. They let that exothermic get destroyed, and, well, Hat's got no more nades. Nothing else to toss through that hole. They do have the first pick, Freak, taken down, but Aether falls pretty soon after, and with Mav and Hibana both gone, you're only hard breaching with their ace off the board is that one exothermic, and you're still trying to breach open that second floor. Wait, actually, sorry, pause, I forgot. They have 2 heartbeats charged. That makes everything different. Makes it all better.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say it's only Penguin with the secondary breach. He's in the only spot to do any proper hard destruction with those batteries still being available. Speaking of Keegan, he finds his second kill on this round. Down goes Reed Adams, and we don't need to specify that because Reed Sync is no longer on the team. But
less up.
Old habits die hard, so I'm sure I'm going to be saying that a little too much during this matchup and throughout the rest of the stage, most likely. Still good control for Aqualix, despite not being able to properly deal with that top floor extension. Because of their strip presence, working their way into bathroom, they were still able to eventually clear out the remnants of that realm and force now just a full-fledged anchor by Aerial Rise. And they have man advantage. This could honestly lead to a very default moto / main stairs and kitchen execute, depending on how Aqualix plays their part.
2 C4s in the hands of Arial Rise, though, both in their pockets, but nobody throwing them up in the kitchen just yet. Penguin is able not only to open that hatch, but get a third kill onto Quartz, peeking down the whole nade in the floor in the kitchen. Takes somebody down. Goyo, in this case, inside a church, and it seems that AQ are running away with it in their first round. After a stumble on Jacuzzi wall, they have recovered and then some for the remainder of this round. And 1v3 now, Tones just kind of chilling inside of dirt. Penguin asking a very good question. Why was he in dirt when there was a barricade up? He can now rotate out, thankfully. I mean, they know where he is, but John, I mean, he's retaking the vertical control, but beyond that, it's an AQ round. Again, a stumble at the start. They recovered and then some.
They adapted well, exactly. Their mid-game presence is almost always a make or break, it seems, for Aqualix, and the fact that they were able to isolate several different one-on-ones, in particular for Penguin, that did give them a lot more room to breathe. Still having the vertical as an option, it also weakens the sight pressure as well, so when Aerial Rise eventually have to fall back, they are really tied at the hands for the most part. Good coordination as well, peeking down in through the kitchen hatch while having someone walk through main as well, so it was an instant trade, so really, Aerial Rise had no room to breathe during that end round position, but now you don't get to go to the, Aerial Rise is not opting to go to the best bomb site here on Clubhouse. Instead, they're going for a very situational site of CCTV and cache. Most people still opt to pick this as their tertiary pick, but it's a lot more challenging to deal with it, especially when Maverick is available. But hey, with that Maverick ban, they most likely just have to deal with maybe some secondary EMPs or verticality, perhaps. I wouldn't assume we would see a Thatcher, but hey, maybe if they really want to get that flat wall opened up early on and have extra for Garage, it wouldn't be a horrible idea.
Even with no Omai, they have the Kiba barriers and the ADSs to force Aqualix to burn a lot of utility inside a Garage, and there are not nearly as nades in the meta as there have been in the past couple months. Not as many operators with them, and really, aside from Nook, Aqualix have all the operators you'd expect a team to be bringing, who also happen to have nades, in this case, the Sledge and the Ana. And plenty of players playing down below from Arial Arise to deny Aqualix from getting the vertical control they need to start out with. Hat will have his drone shot. He'll quickly fill the gap. Pushing in through that main door, knows that Freak is hiding around the corner. I was about to say, there are a lot of Arial Arise defenders around him, adjacent to him right now. He'll back out, find some more intel on Freak, but as of right now, he's solo pushing. He's got to be careful he doesn't overextend, and he almost loses his life because of it.
Tone's really having to play with fire, essentially, worrying about so many different angles. But like you had mentioned, there is a major presence on this first floor. So it's not the biggest concern, can fall back a little bit and make sure that no one can just kind of walk in through stock for free.
Right.
Speaking of which, apparently they had no idea Quartz was playing in that part of the map. So he finds the entry onto Penguin, someone very important in round number 1, but it seems like his team is able to fill the gaps as of right now. Now able to force back Jay a little bit with the Zofia trick underneath, and that allows Beastly to get this back wall or flat wall, pardon, opened up. So although it was a bit of a scuffle on that first floor, again, the bounce back here by Aqualix has been more than enough, and now they have the man advantage and still a decent position during the round.
Yeah, they gained so much by losing Penguin. Is it ideal that the operator you lost had 2 of your 4 nades? No, but Penguin is able to move into stock, bait himself for the rest of his team, and they get Tones and Quartz, 2 of the players down below, as a result. They do have to focus on Garage now, and this is where Penguin being the one to bait himself hurts. You lose 2 of those nades. You only have Hat to rely on to throw these up. You can burn all those ADSs. The flashes go through. They don't deal with it via utility. Reed just peeks, takes down Afer. The ace again. But Aqualix are still able to trade out their teammates. Keep the advantage they gained off the back of Penguin dying. Hat is on low HP, so if one stray bullet enters the Giannis torso, she is dead. She'll be on the floor. It'll be a 2v2. You establish Garage control. You have Psychosis on Repel. He spots one sitting in front of the drone hole, but can't finish off Freak, who gets the kill on Hat, finishing the Yana off. They've made the progress they needed to, but Arial Arise are still kicking. They are still fighting. They are not letting go in round 2.
20 seconds left, and the only major denial you have is that Nitro Cell with Jay. Honestly, if Beastly can bait that C4, that could be pivotal. Psychosis goes for the swing. Beastly quick on the trade. Now a direct 1 versus 1. 10 seconds reign, but there's info. Yellow ping damages Jay. Those nice rattle shots, but Jay still wins the fight in the middle of Cash Room. A close call for Arial Rise, but they still hold on, especially after Psychosis was not able to keep his own near plat.
Psychosis really missing an opportunity right there. He sees Freak through the drone hole right as Freak is occupied with killing Psychosis' teammate, but that was so close right there to make it another trade for AQ in that round, but an opportunity gone. Freak gets away with it. You're down to a 2v2. You don't have the man advantage that you've had the benefit of throughout the entirety of the round. Really unfortunate. A lot of good plays by AQ. It was close throughout, and they were treating some of their players like Penguin, like Aether, there as expendable, but they continued to gain momentum off it. They continued to make space off it and establish control in the round, which is what you want if you're going to lose a body on the attack. And at that point, they get stuck outside. Just a missed opportunity by Psychosis, and all you really have is Psychosis on Repel, and that initial jump in doesn't work out. You're left with not many options to push into the site, and Arial Arise just benefited from that.
Now, overall, although Aqualix were in a position to maybe go for that plant, and although it was only a Nitro Cell, when you're so short on time, and again, players, it didn't really seem like there was an effective way of dealing with Jay's Nitro Cell besides maybe just going in for an aggressive gunfight, challenging his teammate as a Jaeger to get rid of Freak, which almost happened because he won that gunfight. It then forced a immediate trade 1 versus 1, and now Beastly's going to have no coverage when going for that plant and still has the main obstacle of that Nitro Cell. Really, his best case scenario there was to continue the aggression and maybe win that 1-for-1, but Jay was still in the better position and just forced Aqualix to make the final threatening move there. Now heading into gym and bedroom, seems like a cash extension here for Arial Arise, so Aqualix have to deal with that pretty much as most would expect, working their way in through CCTV, through the flat wall, and also top rafters, and then they can begin to slowly dogpile into this one position. At least they don't need to deal with anyone extending in top red, so they can just solely focus in on cash. But wow, a well-played impact trick gets rid of the first set of Selmas, just costing more time here for Aqualix.
Really good play by Reed inside. Psychosis just gives it up completely. Tries to open up the red wall now instead of focusing on that wall leading from CCTV on in. But 2 kills fly Aqualyx's way. 1 by Penguin, 1 by Aether. Penguin being very aggressive on the attack so far. 3 kills for AQ. All go their way in the first minute and a half. 4 now as Aether gets his second in the round so far. Court's all alone inside of Logi. Thankfully, that's where the push is coming from, so could very well rack up a couple kills right here, but sadly, he's not. Never mind. He might be channeling some of that Cavini energy, but all he'll get is 1 lonely kill on the Psychosis as AQ playing things up quick.
And for Aqualix, they just played that one pretty stock standard. They had the usual cutoff angles to make sure that Arial Arise, if they were trying to fall back, weren't going to have a successful time in doing so. And instead of just trying to smash their heads against the same brick wall of getting the regular CCTV wall open up, because they acknowledged there was no presence red, they just rotated the hard breach red. It still accomplishes the same goal of making Arial Arise uncomfortable in cash room, and it's still allowing multiple angles for yourself to hold, while also having the cutoff. So really, Arial Arise are now in a death trap that they have inadvertently set themselves by not falling back earlier. But to their credit, they must have assumed that they were going to waste even more resources and maybe work some sort of entry kill. Yet Penguin has still been rather solid in winning that opening gunfight. And again, Aether was there to back up as well. So 2 direct 1-for-1s immediately won by Aqualix. Another 5-on-3, and they still have the same setup that they were opting to go for. They didn't have to change a single thing in their attacking strat book, whereas Arial Arise were scrambling to work for any potential refrags, which just was not on the playing field for them, because again, they were in such a weak spot to take gunfights because everything was accounted.
Aqualix, in this round number 1, thought they were in a weak spot, John. Seemed like getting one of their main hard breaching bandit tricked, and then losing their other main hard breacher while still having some secondary can openers in pocket. Still taking some major losses in that support hard breaching department early on. Aqualix recovered via those gunfights, especially Penguin just moving on in like a hot knife through butter on that first floor in Clubhouse, getting 3 kills overall in the round. So if they're able to channel some of that main magic again, I'm sure they'd be happy with it, but likely hoping they can get some of these walls open. One will open up by a breach charge instead of hard breaching. Psychosis gathers some quick control over by Stop.
Doesn't seem like Penguin's going to be having all too much success this time in the entry. He has been in every single entry engagement so far, and it's been so
I'm
far
shocked.
the 2v2. Yeah, out of all players you would expect to be that headstrong in taking gunfights, you probably wouldn't expect Penguin, but hey, he's trying to fill something, I suppose. But not going to have as much vertical, pretty much no vertical pressure at this point, since Buck was the major thing you were relying on. Only a couple secondary breaching charges left on the round. But finally, Aqualix at least get that jacuzzi wall opened up, so a fallback has to be confirmed by Arial Arise, but it's not too bad of a fallback because, again, they already won the opening gunfight, and they did waste a fair amount of time. The only thing they need to be worried about is Psychosis, because he's currently bottom blue.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if, given the time that they wasted, and also the fact that they know Penguin has been playing Buck, they know that that's the main source of soft destruction they've been running. Once they got that kill combined with the time, they were like, yeah, let's just go down. No need to press your luck. Both those are going your way. Yeah, just roll with it. It's also one of their main sources of hard breaching, as we saw before. And oh, look at this. Reed just chilling inside a kitchen, waiting for AQ to open up that hatch, John.
And again, with the lack of information we have seen some rounds by Aqualix, this might just go unchecked. You're really not going to expect someone to be lingering on this first floor when you probably heard, if not saw, almost half of that reinforcements placed up above just completely move back down below. So if Reed just times this one correctly, this could be a major way to guarantee no chances for Aqualix.
Not only that, but even if he sees that no one is pressuring Kitchen Hatch, he can call to the rest of his team that the execute isn't going to be coming from that way, that they need to watch places like Blue and main stairs, but so far that call might not have come through in time. 2 kills go AQ's way. Hat starts creeping into the site, looking for that player behind bar that can be oh so elusive. They get the one they needed, but this might not be solved by a plant. They've got almost all the kills they need, and, well, kill number 5 comes in right at the time I was about to mention Reed's potential position. AQ looking very good on the attacking half of Clubhouse so far, moving up 3-1.
And for Psychosis in particular, I love that he waited for Hat so they could attack Church from 2 complete opposite directions. Psychosis guaranteed that no one was going to get control in the back of generator slash boiler, that quote utility room, the compass call near bottom blue. He was just holding that passive angle for a long period of time. And finally, when everyone was ready to execute, he just pushed in at the exact same time as Hat did. And they both won their, 1-for-1 gunfights. Pretty much cleared out Church, allowing for a very straightforward plant position. And again, because there was a major lack of any kitchen control, that flank slash, hero play that Reed was attempting completely backfired, because now you're just down 1 extra player in sight and you just lost your man advantage you were relying on for a majority of that round. Incredible comeback by Aqualix, and Arial Arise acknowledging they probably should have had that round in the bag since they did so well in the opening game to shut down Penguin. They're going to have to go for a timeout to try to, talk things through and hopefully get an even 3-3 half in the first half here of Clubhouse.
I mean, Clubhouse, we kind of expect the attack to get a very large start at the beginning. We expect them usually to go up in rounds, and even with the changes that have happened in the meta, while the attack isn't as strong as it once was, it's still Clubhouse. It's still not easy for the defense, especially on sites like CCTV, especially on basement. If you get pushed down off the roam very early on, or you get put in that man disadvantage, like you were talking about, John. So still a good time to take a tactical timeout, because, again, sure, it's Clubhouse. AQ have still been looking, like, even when they suffer what seems to be a setback, it's not getting to them very hard. What is it? What is it?
So, well, if you look at the lineup by Aqualix,
What could it be, John?
I think the Thermite, honestly, it takes a really long time to get those breaches on the
really
wall. You might get bandit tricked.
It's honestly like a crazy pick. Like, what is Beast doing?
B-Dog's taking some big risks here. I've got to admit that he might just try to unleash. Yeah, he might just try to unleash the Beast here. If you catch my drift.
I don't.
But no, the major elephants in the room probably have to be, Sens, Glaz, Capitao. What Aqualix are going to do is utilize those Sens gadgets actually to try to play for some cutoffs and garage wall to get better control of Raptors. And if the flat wall's already opened up, with those 2 portions of the map in your back pocket, you could probably go for a very straightforward clear and execute on the site. And especially with smoke grenades and, Sens projectors, Glaz is going to be a really important facilitator in just having coverage for that plant. So really, with Aqualix acknowledging that Arial Rise did not have a lot of plant denial, they are just going to solely rely on trying to get this defuse down as quickly as they can. But still, although there is a lack of major plant denial, they still have to worry about the underground presence.
First light screen goes on in. Psychosis throws one of them, and it cuts Garage in 2. But oh no! No one is watching Garage stairs. Reed gets 1, but it's still Aqualix getting a net gain as they clear out of Garage. They lose their Capitao, but the Azami and the Alibi, both players inside of Garage, all still got half the round to go. A lot of progress made by AQ, some very good control gain, and while there still might be 1 player down below, they've certainly won the first half of the round.
Now with the Bandit very far away from the back wall, having to now sit himself up near red, the flat wall can get opened up. Still 2 smokes in the pocket of Kid Hat. There is still coverage for that potential post plant. Still 2 projectors as well, and Kid Hat is still not missing these shots. Ending a second one here with the Glass Sniper. 2 versus 4, and just the Nitro cells left. If they have somebody watching underneath, there is no potential for that C4 to strike in through lobby, but at the moment, both defenders are still just playing up above and currently waiting for Aqualix to directly enter the actual bomb site so they can utilize these C4s to shut them down.
Yeah, there is no one from AQ down below. Everyone on that top floor, so it's not very easy for AA to rotate down, as there is someone watching, as Quartz just finds out. If they were to make it, that'd be great. Right now, they gotta fight it out and duke it out on the site. Jay gets 2 so far, but it's all him and all alone inside of Cash. AQ looking very strong before and after the timeout. 4-1 now.
And altogether for the coordination of the actual Sens play to get garage control, very smooth. Almost as smooth as butter, funny enough, since we made a butter pun earlier. The only major way you can potentially deny that is if you just start dive bombing people. If you run past the projector of the RRU as a defender and just have to take those gunfights, it sounds really risky and dumb, but really that's all you can do. They're going to get instant control of Garage, and if you lose Raptors that early in the round, and if you're not able to get a strong flank off, you are pretty much doomed, especially once that flat wall gets opened up as well. So the fact that there was only one person defending Garage that whole time when Aqualyx were attacking it, that just left a lot of vulnerability for them. Aqualyx taking full advantage of that, immediately transitioned to get that flat wall opened up, still having someone on highway as well. Besides the potential flank underneath, they really had everything accounted for. And honestly, I think they knew that both defenders were up above, so they didn't even need to have someone playing for the flank underneath. So it does really seem like they had everything accounted for, and it seems like they have practiced that send strat multiple times to attack CCTV.
They got it all sorted, got it all figured out, and it's looking like we might be within reach of, well, another dominant first half today. Another 5-1, 2 in a row, at least for games 3 and 4, if AQ can just win a round on bar and stage. And come on, John, how hard can that be? If you want to push it from the side they're going, I'll be honest, it'll be a little more difficult. You won't have control of that hatch above that stage bomb, which can make a plant on that side a lot easier. But it's still early on. Still testing the waters, still probing for a weakness. See where AQ decide to go, because they are focusing a lot on acquiring this top floor, which is step 1 for a bar and stage attack.
Having that vertical is a pretty big make or break. Some teams opt to be very simplistic on this clear up above and just try to only go in through like CCTV and cash room, get a little bit of con pressure. So the small vertical that can be used for a stage plant is denied, and oh wow. Cluster charges in sync with someone on the hatch, I believe, too. Could have spelled disaster, but it's not. Tones instead just snipes Hat. Psychosis falls as well, and Jay in the middle of main stairs gets rid of Afer as well. This entire attack has completely fallen over on its side, and Aqualyx are now stuck in a 2v5.
I got no idea what the
no.
hell just happened, but man, it's Arial Arise running away with it. Round number 6, seemingly done before it ever really got started. Beastly the only one left, and hey, yeah, nope, doesn't even get one. Freak finishes that one off very unceremoniously, but very solid for Arial Arise. They end with a flawless round, still only a 4-2 half.
Not the best, you could say, for Arial Arise, but again, you had mentioned it, I'll bring it up too, that this map has been a lot more attacker favored in recent times, so it's not too uncommon, but there definitely were moments for Arial Arise where they could have had a round win. Specifically, the last time Church was in play, this could have definitely been a 3-on-3 half, so Aqualyx definitely would say they are very happy with how everything played out for the most part. Maybe they could have had a bit of a cleaner round 6, because that was a complete blowout for Arial Arise, but hey, you win some, you lose some, I suppose. Church and Arsenal now in play for Aqualyx, and their setup is, I'd say, very different in comparison to what Arial Arise had. It seems like Aqualyx want to go for more of a bunker strat, maybe have, you know, a light poke and prod near like secret and main stairs to break some drones early on and potentially get some sort of entry kill, but they're playing for the fallback, and more or less they are playing for the anchor. And all right, I guess I'm wrong. They're still going to be extending up above. I really thought with both the Goyo and Pulse, they'd want to really harp on a bunker strat, but I guess I was a little inaccurate about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is not exactly the lineup I would picture when I think, you know, people roaming very far on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's certainly not something we see very often. I mean, you have the mute jammers, which are classic for any extension on Clubhouse. PB, back when Penguin was on it, back when they were in Challenger League, on Clubhouse would run a roam with Pulse, where the Pulse would sit over by Secret and try to scan up into CCTV, see if there's anybody over there. So this might be evocative of that former strat, and it makes sense with Penguin at the helm, and well, likely something that Arial Arise, just because, well, that iteration of Parabellum, when they favored Clubhouse and played it with that strat, is long gone at this point. And AQ, certainly not something that they have run before. Arial will still rappel up to try to enter from positions you would expect on the map, and notice that one part of the Jacuzzi wall is soft, and they'll open it up and see what they'll find in the first minute of the round.
I don't think that was supposed to be the case for Aqualyx, but it seemed like they did use a lot of their reinforcers up above. Must have ran out at some point, so at least there's one angle opened up here for Arial Arise, but seems like an avenue has been found by Penguin once again as he gets rid of Court with a nice timed C4. Logi control now removed from the side of Arial Arise, and a small fallback has begun, but not to the full extent. There are still a couple people playing on the first floor, maybe waiting for, again, a few extra drones, some sort of kill if Air Rise want to get extra aggressive. But now a majority of the defense and now all of it has given up this top and also middle floor too. But hey, to be fair, they won the entry kill. If Air Rise don't have full information that a fallback has gone down, then they're going to have to waste a lot of their own time confirming that to make sure they don't lose any more bodies on an important round.
Ooh, nice drone inside of the site from Tone. Spotting an Azami playing on AK right now. Very, very good. He can keep this one alive, but oh no. Will the Azami spot it? Nah, Psychosis blissfully ignorant of Tones' drone in sight at the moment. But still, that is something that is very good for Tones right there. They'll start creeping on up. The Z ping active. They know he's there. Just have to grab it. Take the opportunity. They break it open, but oh no! A trap was laid! A Goyo canister on the opposite side, but it doesn't matter. Freak storms on through the flames. Him and Tones going huge, but really it's the Freak show inside a basement. A lot of damage being taken, but a 4K from Freak. Somebody, I think somebody said, John, that this might be a Freak-sided map at the beginning of the show, and it looks like in this round, might have just been right.
Definitely seemed like it. Good heads-up play just to rush through the Vulcan fire, as you are probably not going to be expecting that, and it paid dividends. Freak finding almost, if not every single kill underneath, a triple, potentially a 4K. I mean, just incredible shots landed by the Ash, and that left Aqualyx, I would say, speechless and playerless as well. And they are not even going to try to attempt to go back down there. They do not want to relive that nightmare, instead opting to head towards CCTV and Cash Room with, I'd say, a relatively similar setup to what we saw by Air Rise, except now they have a Warden in the pocket of Hat, maybe expecting smokes to be utilized a bit more since Tap Out is an option with no Amai available. But besides that, everything else seems pretty normal besides maybe that Warden pick. And he's not even horrible. Again, the smoke denial and having a C4 for plant denial too. I mean, it seems pretty good.
Can survive a lot longer on the rafters if you want to play that position as well. I know Psychosis, very good on the Azami. So, I mean, well, not that Psychosis is very good on the Azami. I mean, he is, but that's not the point I was making. I was saying Azami very good in that position. So, dealer's choice for who you want to put in that rafter spot. You also have Penguin, I guess, bandit tricking down below. Interesting choice. Don't really know how that's gonna go, but I mean, to be fair, nobody's looking right now, so maybe it'll work. And it seems that Arial Arise are being very lax about it when they shouldn't have. Greed stunned. Stun lock around the corner, wondering, did my hard reach charge get bandit trick?
Yes, it did. And not a bad idea either, expecting the Thatcher in play and probably most of his utility emphasized on a plat wall, which normally gets opened up no matter what. It actually makes sense. It's going to allow you to hold Garage for a lot longer and a lot safer as well, especially those keybs in the mix too. So not a bad idea, and it played out pretty well for Aqualix. But again, because you're focusing so much on Garage, you still get the plat wall opened up at a good time. And eventually, it's a fallback here by Penguin. So the Garage wall still gets opened up. A good idea, but eventually you have to meet the expected outcome. And now he's just focusing on Con for the time being. And Air Rise win the entry kill as well. Afer's dead by, I believe it was Reed, correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was writing something down when that happened, so I'm not too sure. But I also gotta wonder, did that bandit trick really accomplish a lot in the long run? It did destroy a hard breach charge. We can say that. And stalled a little bit for Arial Arise to take Garage, but Afer's still dead. The angle's still open. Freak just smoked Hat through it. And now Psychosis is in a similar spot where he would be at this point anyway. Fire blossoming around him. Not damaging him, though. Just a little bit too short, unfortunately. So Psychosis is surviving this position, but is it because of Penguin's bandit trick? Not too sure. It's the first kill, though, for Aqualix. Psychosis picking up the second. And now we have some gains made by AQ, but it's quickly silenced. Beastly, 1 HP. Psychosis, the only one who could reliably be predicted to have an impact because of his teammates' low health. And he's stuck in Garage right now, a position where even if you get 3 kills, you are predicted 9 times out of 10 to die. One thing going, though, Diffuser in sight, and Beastly has smokes. Reed is looking to creep up red stairs to take advantage of Beastly, maybe being focused on helping Psychosis, can easily finish him off. He'll creep up further, spots the smoke, Psychosis down. Just one player to deal with, one smoke to eliminate inside of Cash. You've equalized at 4-4. There we go.
Good discipline by Reed as well, just forcing the smoke to eventually make his way in through red. He's greeted by a para. Very happy to find that one kill. And Yeah, I was really gassing up that interesting play by Penguin, but yeah, in the long run of things, it did not accomplish much. Arial Rise still had an incredibly clean clear of that garage position, especially since there was really no one to back up Psychosis. He was basically on an island for the most part. And although he wasn't really dealt with for a good chunk of that round, he also wasn't able to get much besides, I believe, just 1 kill. He started out with 3 on round number 8 and now is up to 4, so that would be simple arithmetic there. So, although he was in a good spot, again, he just couldn't really do all too much. Arial Rise still basically had garage control in their back pocket. They eventually had Plowwell opened up too, so they were able to shut down Penguin as he was trying to get aggressive to help out that player Rafters. And the same thing was kind of attempted by the Smoke too, but eventually he had to force his way back into the cash room, and once again, his position was well known by Arial Rise. So they've been doing quite well in the attack and have really cleaned up their act against Aqua, now tying us going into round 9.
On Clubhouse as well, to point the deskmate earlier, usually when Freak shows up on Clubhouse, it is on that attacking side. That is where he puts up a lot of the numbers historically on this map. Seeing him start to turn up, especially in that first round on the attack, and still able to seal things out overall as a team effort, is indicative of what we likely should have expected from Arial Rise, and some stumbling by AQ, especially thinking that Goyo trap they have on the door to dirt would do a lot more work than they thought. Once the fire explodes, yeah, it'll damage them, but you still have to be watching. And Arial Rise have committed at that point. They're not just going to start backing up and walking away, so it's one thing I'd like to see from them. Maybe focusing a little bit more on the follow-through and not just assuming that trap would do the job. But that's way ahead of me. Till then, we've only passed 45 seconds. Freak has entered stock. Tone outside of main door, looking to pressure hat at the start.
Seems like they might be able to fully accomplish that. Still gets 1 though for his troubles. Quartz is gone, but Tones is very swift on that refrag. A C4 opens things up, though, when Psychosis is now having an angle looking into the pool table towards Bar. Can definitely cause a lot of havoc. Tones just drops the hatch. A very risky play, but it could pay off. Over swings, but still wins the first gunfight against Penguin, and now might try to stick this defuse. He has to worry about a retake, though, unless Reed can cover near Moto. This could be a very dangerous position altogether for Arial Rise. The cam does spot out Reed Adams, but he just pushes forward and somehow kills Beastly. A 2 versus 2. Tone swings wide and finds both of them. Arial Rise take the lead after a risky play that still worked out for him.
I really don't know what just happened there, but let's talk about it. So,
please do.
I was about to say, thank God AQ take a timeout after that one, dude. Like, thank the Lord they hit the timeout button after the loss they just suffered. So we have Arial Rise to focus in on Bar. They want to take down Hat. They want to get this first bit of control. And I say, good for him, John. Good priorities. That's where you need to start. But then what does he do? Tones had Iconics Twitter profile up at the beginning, and he saw the pin tweet that Iconic has where he just drops down the hatch in Consulate after getting a kill. And he was like, I'm going to do that on Clubhouse. And do that he did. Makes it into sight. It's a 3v2. But I don't know if it's because of the suppressor or... I'm going to be honest, I actually have no idea what the hell it is. Nobody pushes Tones. Nobody recognizes the fact that it's a 3v2, and there's one guy in church. One lonely ace. One former sub termed starting player on the roster. Nobody pushes him. Reed couldn't even cover him. The wall behind him was reinforced. Reed's not on a hatch. All he can do is cut down the long haul, which, to be fair, is good. Nobody pushes him, John? Come on. Get the act together.
Might need to change things to the freaking Tones show. Tones and Mo sounding somewhat similar. I guess he's now fully molding himself in that position. I wish we could fully quote that clip as well that you're talking about, because I think that would perfectly capsize how that round went down. But again, it's the same thing like we saw last time Church was in play. It's just flat out not expecting something that bold. When you're just charging through a Vulcan fire pack like that, you're probably not assuming it's going to work. Same thing for a Moto drop. You're probably not expecting it. And with a lot of your players still on the roam, I could assume almost nobody hurt, except maybe the guy Church. But if there's active comms going down, that could easily suppress a Moto drop by a singular player. So really, the stars perfectly aligned for Arial Rise, and Aqualyx just thought way too quickly on their toes and ended up just tripping themselves over, it seems. And because of that, Arial Rise were able to get that round advantage, force Aqualyx to take a timeout, and they might be a little more methodical about how they want to defend on Clubhouse, because clearly the direct option is just not working out a majority of these rounds against Arial Arise.
Not the stage 3 Finka.
Ooh.
Not the post LMG, post frag nerf Finka, but hey, he drops immediately and oh no, does not find a kill. Quartz instead opened things up, and Beastly finally finished off by Jay. Arial Arise taking control extremely quickly in gym bedroom. Everyone's got to retreat. The defense has got to make it back. They're in the deficit right now and continue to plummet. Their stock is rock bottom right now. Everyone is selling their stock in AQ's defense. Arial Arise goes to get the bomb down. Afer is stuck inside of construction, makes his way into logistics. Now he's got to contend with some of the aerial players. Jay just around the corner. Another on a long angle behind the bed. They're all waiting, but Afer, he picks one up. Third of the job done. Only 2/3 remaining. Only 23 seconds to do it. Both players are treated outside as well. He does manage to cross. The window's no longer a factor.
No
He can hide
way.
behind the weight machine. They gotta vault in. They have to kill him. There is somebody down below, but Tones whips the shots. He's driven him off, though. That's the part that mattered. Afer's gotta stick it. But one hops
No
into a
way.
cross mat. No way they lose this! You've got to be kidding me, Arial! What a unbelievably ridiculous way to get the bomb defused on you. I mean, come on.
Not only, Carter, will that round live in infamy for Tones, or the Sledge, I should say, that's going to be even worse for Tones, I'd say, actually. I misspoke a little bit. He whiffed an entire mag on a guy who was not even looking at him. He was focused on the highway player. If he had just hit 2 more shots, that's the round over. That's match point guaranteed for Arial Arise. That's everything guaranteed for them. Not only does he whiff, but when the Sledge tries to make up for that whiff, he gets downed. That is just, that's comedic. That is reality TV levels of unluckiness, yet also, I don't want to say a skill diff, but like, I feel like that word could be used relatively well
Quite
for that
unfortunate, isn't it?
situation. Rather true, indubitably, I must say.
Quite right.
Tones must have used all of his power on that like moto drop, because oh my god. And we saw all of that too. But Aqualix, that's got to be a huge mental boon. And now they're not looking down the gun barrel of match point, so that's even better for them, I'd have to say.
Once I saw Afer get behind the weight machine, I'm like, oh no, is this it? I'm like, is this how
That's
it
a
ends?
crazy long arm angle. I did not know you could still do that. That's insane.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I just knew he couldn't get shot through steel. I was like, he's fine. He's chilling unless they get someone down below. And they did get someone down below, and it didn't work. Horizontal recoil sadly goes different now. So, something I guess you'll have to factor into the future. We are going to basement though, and this is where Arial Arise got a comical victory of their own back in round number 9, if I recall correctly. Yes, round number 9. I knew like how long ago it was, just numbers are hard. Back in round number 9, they got a very funny victory with Tones getting the bomb down and no one reacting. Quite hilarious if you weren't there for it. And it seems that Arial Arise are running things back. Sending it in through dirt. They'll open up the door. They know a Goyo trap is on this, and that when the barricade breaks, it will explode. Now they'll hang back for the time being, but now they have to deal with Kiva barriers blocking their path.
I'm a little shocked the Kiva barrier was thrown just high enough where the Capcan trap does not get destroyed, because if a Kiva barrier gets in your way, it's going to break whatever was there originally. But that Ash charge should destroy it. So really only another Kiva barrier to take its place for the most part. Afer off screen will get that entry call into Quartz. I guess Penguin's prediction of higher and lower was correct in that margin. And he swings for another one. Tone's now shut down. A lot of these playmaking individuals are simply gone on the side of Arial Arise. And we might actually see a full comeback here for Aqualyx to maybe tag match point if they continue this momentum.
But Freak is back, and Freak has the R4C. By the way, I gotta say, as like purely nostalgia, seeing the R4C back as a gun that people are using, it's like, dude, it's kind of hitting me in the feels. I'm not even gonna lie.
Is.
It's like
I agree.
It harkens back to an age past, and it makes me happy, and I'm excited to see what Freak can do, because he's got to do quite a bit in a 3v5, especially when there is a Pulse still alive who might be C4-less but can still beam your position to the rest of their team, beam that information into the heads of the other 4 players that Aqualix have, and maybe even use A for C4 to get aggressive. Not that they need to, though. As I said earlier, 3v5. There's one can opener remaining. Reed has it. Could open kitchen if he wanted to, but, well, he can't anymore. Afer's just sitting inside a moto, catches the Capital completely off guard. Another C4 goes out. Might even down Jay, but whether that was the down or not. Hat finishes him off, and Afer finishes off the round, sends AQ to match point off the back of a very lovely 4K.
The bounce back completely by Aqualyx really turned lemons into lemonade on round 11, and just again, they continued that momentum going into, actually it would be round 10, continue the momentum onto round 11. It has been quite a long day, especially for myself, but it is what it is.
Not me.
Aqualyx. Yeah, Aqualyx looking to take this one in strides, perhaps. But hey, Arial Rise in particular, they had a very thorough attack on CCTV and cash room specifically. They did a very good job of isolating that guy in rafters, Psychosis in particular. And they also were able to make sure that no one could really play with him to facilitate any good trades. So they can keep that up. I could imagine we see overtime, but it does seem like Aqualyx really are in the driver's seat here, especially in terms of not only mental, but potentially, again, that momentum I've mentioned now a handful of times.
Will we see Penguin bandit trick a can opener?
I don't think so. I think he's going to be like, you
Don't?
know what?
You don't think that?
No, I highly doubt it. He's going to say, you know what? There was no one highway. Flat wall is going to be a little more important. Maybe I get lucky and stop the thermite charge from doing their job. Maybe. But only time will tell. Maybe I'm wrong. I have been before.
Oh, please. No! Dang it. I thought he was.
Hey, no, he's got time to rotate. Oh,
Oh!
he's thinking about it. He
Is he
really
doing it?
is.
Come on. I know you want to. I know you want to, Keegan. Ah! He rotated back.
Oh,
Sad
sucks
day.
to be right sometimes.
I guess John is... Shut up. I don't want to hear it out of you. He is right, though. Penguin will not be bandit tricking the garage wall, and if we're being honest, he's probably not going to be able to bandit trick much of anything else because of the presence of that Thatcher, the JS playing. Can't really bandit trick on the platform. I mean, you can, but, like, they also have a can opener and an exothermic. They can get this sorted out if they wanted to. Both get opened up, or both get destroyed. Another EMP goes out. Exothermic opens up the wall. It is actually placed in the middle, so if he were bandit tricking, he would have got it no matter what, but he wasn't. So the walls opened up within a minute, and Arial Rise got step 1 done without losing much.
Worried about the nade, though. Not too surprised he didn't want to try to risk his life just for a simple bandit trick, especially, again, when you have 2 other EMPs. Really big risk to take sometimes. And although Aqualyx can do that, just seems not the right place, not the right time when you're on match and series. Come back to a pretty important deficit. Afer trying to maybe work some sort of early kill. I don't think he can spot the silhouette of the guy near the back garage wall. So far, it's not going to be an opening gunfight. We'll go for the pre-fire, now forced to fall away as his position is well known. But so far, that won't really deter Arial Rise all that much, as they are still looking to coordinate a very default attack in through garage, through both the back quad walls, and maybe having a guy late open up that single doorway too.
I like this position a lot more from Penguin. Of course, bandit tricking early on is funny, but now down in the oil pit, he can throw... Oh, no. Not throw a C4. It's unfortunately been expended. He can still watch people try to push up those garage stairs and help out Psychosis quite a bit, and also take some of the burden off of Hat to provide that support as well, especially with that garage panel now opened up. Ooh, Firebolt's going out as well. Hat will spot one. Doesn't work out. Freak cuts him down on side of the rafters. Ports gets another as well. Psychosis feeling a lot of the heat at the moment. A lot of the pressure to make a play happen. And now the heat of the flames at his feet as well. There goes one. Playing for his life. It's all he'll get. Freak picks up a second. Penguin is hoping that he's gone unnoticed, that he's gone unread, that he can get a kill. And get a kill he does. Reed falls down, but still garage control for the attack. Arial Rise still have it. Only 30 seconds left, sure. Some presence in rafters, some players outside it. Oh no. Nobody is in rafters. I mean, Freak is, but he's not moving up the stairs. He catches Penguin in time. It might still be enough to send this to OT. Only Beastly inside of the site. Somebody watching outside of plat wall, but it's Freak inside who gets the best of him. Overtime. Is this our first one of the day, John?
Yeah. Most
Well, what do you
certainly
think?
is.
First one of the day. First one of stage 3.
It was the most likely game to be this close besides Luminosity and Vipers. We already know how that game concluded. That was 7-5 for Luminosity. So, makes sense. Funny enough, Arial Rise probably could have won 7-5 as well. Again, if they didn't choke that 1v2. I hate to be so blunt about it, but they really had that one in the bag, it seemed. But like I mentioned earlier, they had a very clean and concise attack when dealing with rafters/garage. They did so once again, although Penguin did have the surprise on at least one player, but when trying to retake the swamp, Freak was still expecting someone to be looming near that area and was able to shut them down before game too much of an issue. Aqualix now opting to go back down into the basement, where they did end up playing this one pretty recently and ended up winning it, as there wasn't really much. Actually, am I correct on that? They just played this one a few rounds ago and ended up winning it. Yes, it was off the back of A for finding that 4K. They had a really solid roam game, ended up falling back at a good time frame as well, and there wasn't really much coverage that could be taken out by Arial Rise. But I'm assuming they're going to try something different that isn't just rushing down through either Moto or Dirt. So I'm expecting this round to be a lot more different in comparison to what we've seen recently.
I don't know. This game has been wild, John. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, it's making me forget
dude,
things, man. It's
any-
been rough.
dude, anything can happen in overtime. Like, all bets are off.
Yeah,
It's-
real.
It's a bit of deranged game so far with some of the things we've seen. But hopefully, it continues to provide some entertainment value. See Court's mulling about outside of Dirt. He, of course, cannot open it up. He's got to call over Tones or Reed. Open up either of those dirt walls, but he's... Oh, wait, no, it's actually soft. They did not reinforce it. My fault. Thanks, Nova. Just assumed it was reinforced. I was wrong.
Yeah, they haven't been reinforcing it all too much, because again, with the cap cans and Vulcan packs, it is kind of a death wish to want to walk down through Dirt. But hey, speaking of death and destruction, Afer, who was doing so well last time Church was in play, is taken care of by Tones, who also has had a very big debut round as a whole on Arial Rise when trying to just walk it down Moto. So a good start altogether for Arial Rise, now having at least top main control, also working their way into Jacuzzi, can gather some information with those Inox scanners as well. And I think with Aqualyx knowing that there isn't much left for them up above, they'll just fall back and hopefully try to play for some sort of comfortable trade position, but still Arial Rise winning a very important gunfight off the bat of this round.
Indeed, a very important gunfight. Just have to try to move beyond that. And by beyond that, in this case, I mean the first floor, as Arial Rise are still just kind of checking some boxes on the second floor. Tones is peeking down into Generator. Didn't see anybody. Saw a couple other players just sort of looking down into the first floor, like, oh, it's that over there. What is that? But they haven't actually really got any control. I mean, they do now. But what do they have to work off of it? Any holes made? Not until just now. Not until exactly a minute left. The court's starting to go to work. Only just now are they starting to open up these hatches. And Penguin can still reliably send intel to the rest of his team. They might not have any C4s, but so much time has just been spent doing a whole lot of nothing from Arial Rise that when they're opening up the angles and creating the positions they need to hold, is there enough time to move forward beyond it? Hat and Psychosis can hold inside of Gen and play a crossfire there. Beastly and Psychosis can hold the crossfire bottom main. Penguin can watch in whatever angle he wants to watch. He's a little bit of a floater in this case. Our Aqualix, they have their bases covered, because if they don't, they could still lose what is so far a good position. And there we go. All the dominoes fall. 3 bodies from Arial Rise hit the floor. Number 4 does, but it's not confirmed just yet. Leaves Jay all alone, gets 1 kill, looking for a second, and it does not go his way. AQ, take match point, because they lost the first kill, but they got all the ones that mattered by just biding their time.
Spreading themselves so thin as well with that lack of time, having to have everyone just fully move around, trying to get blue control, working their way through bottom main, while still having Tones trying to creep his way in through Dirt for the 80th time, while dropping on the kitchen hatch. I mean, sure, every position was being watched by Arial Rise, but they just flat out were in the better position to take those head-to-head gunfights, especially when you have Aqualix with a team composition that really is going to benefit them, falling back on the roam game with some sort of bonus. You have all those key barriers to allow for a lot more one-sided angles for you to win off of. You still have a lot of stall potential with not only those keybers, but also the Vulcan packs and maybe some Capcan traps as well. As if you get blown up by those DVDs, you either die, which removes 1 position from the equation, or you're just lower on HP and they have info on you because they heard the Capcan trap go off. Really low options for Arial Rise, despite the fact they had a really strong entry game on round number 13, and we're looking to take that win on paper. But like you had mentioned perfectly, they just wasted too much time checking blank corners, and Aqualix were somewhat expecting that and played into their own strengths so well to now once again guarantee match point.
Arial Rise will play their one and only defense on bar and stage, which if you're a newcomer and you're just joining now, first of all, come on, dude, like, It's literally the last game of the day. It's 8:37 Eastern. Try to wake up a little bit earlier to catch more Challenger League. But in all seriousness, if you did not see, Arial Rise actually won this site flawlessly in round 6. Only went to it once, to be fair. But this was still their objectively best defense, and in fact, the best defense you could possibly have. That's why they're going to it. You missed that. And right now, they're trying to win it the same way, just getting aggressive, and by taking gunfights with the Aqualix players outside of the building. AQ are opening up the same positions they did before, John, but it didn't get much further beyond them.
And Tones, I wouldn't say he's in a vulnerable position yet, but now he's for the most part stuck inside a Logi unless Reed can still have enough space for him to work his way back in through Logi back towards bedroom, and that eventually does happen, but he's still kind of lurking around between the two, just almost huddling near that rotate hole. They tossed out here by Penguin, forcing the overextension by Tones, but at least Freak is there on a swift refrag, but the same thing applies for Aqualyx as well, as now Freak has been injured. Not in the best spot to get picked back up, but I believe Reed is trying to maybe cross the distance to maybe have that work out, but Psychosis, a beautiful shot. Now essentially a 4v2 as no one is near to pick up Freak, eventually finished off by Aphra, and now this looks to be a potential clean out by Aqualyx, unless this flank potentially works for Arial Arise.
Essential 4v2 to an official 4v2, but can Quartz undo the damage and bring us to round 15? Aphra's watching. Quartz needs to win this fight if he wants to bring it back, but Aphra falls off. He doesn't hold the door into construction. That allows Quartz to move in, and he might catch Aphra off guard. Maybe springs the trap a little too early, and indeed he does. Fires a bunch of shots into the wall. That shows Aphra there's somebody there. Now it's a 1v4. Jay the only one left. He's holding the side at least. Doesn't have to play retake, but he's still alone. Aqualix have the vertical control, and they also have either site to go through. Do they want to plant bar, or do they want to plant stage? They can go either way. It's Jay who has to react. Sees one drop, put to 1 HP, still gets the kill nonetheless. Other one moving down main, hits the reload. Just one bullet away from death. Guy outside evades him. Marked on his position, he'll run out, get aggressive. They've already moved inside. He'll still remain inside a bar. Arial Arise, no, Aqualix have the angles they need. Hat moves in for the kill. Just one bullet to take him down. Waiting for Jay to move. Will he swing? AQ play patient. They've got the bomb down. Hat finally moves in to end this, but Aphra kills him. Unfortunate to be sure, but still nothing too burdensome for AQ to seal out round 14 and end our first game of overtime in stage 3 as a win in their column.
And a great bounce back as well, not only for the game itself, but especially that last round. You went from flawlessly losing it to almost flawlessly winning it, I would say. Essentially the best thing that comes to it besides actually winning it with all 5 of your players left alive. Again, the accountability was there. They understood that if they're able to force back anyone working their way in through Logi, that's going to create a really big gap in that defensive extension, especially since they already had Jacuzzi Wall opened on up. And they essentially just went in and flooded top 4 at the exact same time, and Arial Arise were just caught at the front end of a trade game that wasn't favoring them because they were down at disadvantage, and the one ace they had up their sleeves failed. That flank attended by Quartz, the timing was a little bit off. He was expecting someone to maybe shoot him through Master Door leading into comm, but instead Aphra just retook Logi and just shot him through the rotate that he was looking at earlier. We saw a lot of timing errors like that before, and you're in a 4v2 like that, you're really not thinking twice about it, so just unlucky for Quartz. And then that all dawns down into a 1v4, and you're not even able to defend site from that potential execute. So really, everything backfired for Arial Arise, and I hate to beat a dead horse, Carter, but really to think that they would have had match point and maybe have won 7-5, that's gotta sting. But hey, you know what? At least they got a point today. That's better than nothing.
They did get 1 point.
Won.
Got at least one. You don't come out of the first play day completely with nothing. You at least got the pity point and the 1 point for making it to overtime and giving Aqualix a good fight. But that's enough from me today. That's enough from John today. Oh my god, I actually got it right that time. That's actually crazy. I don't think I've ever done that before without thinking about it. But it's not done for the desk, who I imagine they'll probably think this game was a little bit goofy, just like I did.
I thought, and I believe Connor thought as well, that this game was a fantastic game and a great way to finish off the day. Not that we haven't had good games today. I think they've all been good. but this one was the icing on the cake. And Connor, if one was going to go to the distance, it had to be this one.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to admit that there were some silly, goofy moments that,
Yeah.
will live down in infamy, but that was just sort of a little bit of sprinkles on top of the sundae. There were the little extra treats that you don't even expect, because who would expect in 50 million years that the tones that just hit that double spray transfer would miss an entire mag on somebody not moving and losing a 1v3? Who would have thought that that would be possible? But once again, going back to the critical points, which is something we haven't done a whole lot. Did Arial Arise get worse? No. Did Aqualix get worse? No. Both of these teams looked good, and I'm excited for their future.
Well, I'm curious to think or find out what Cookie's thoughts were on this transition, this new look Aqualix with Penguin at the helm.
Well, you can say that there's the creativity is shining through, right? I mean, it did for both teams. There was a lot of goofy stuff as we described, but I really like seeing the Glass on the cash attack. Something no one did today. No team played Glass, even though in his newer state, I think he's one of the sleeper OP ops. Like going forward, you're probably gonna see a lot more. Hat looked crazy. Like the shots he was hitting, the trigger finger. It was beautiful. And that's earlier, Brim, we talked about how there was like, would you see like more Beastly or more Penguin? That was a little taste of Penguin in there. They had Sense with that too. Sense and Glass. Watch out for that. Some people are gonna steal that going forward. It's like that's the Penguin effect. And then of course, Beastly, he looked a little old at times. I'm not.
He got the
lie.
final kill of the game, though. We have to give him the respect.
There was around someone went through the rotate a dope, and just like I couldn't believe he died. But doesn't matter because Beastly is the glue. He is amazing, and yeah, that game was just funny. I have so many funny notes that I can share, but I'd go on another 20 minutes. So
I think every player on both sides played an important role in this game, which is not, you can't really say that for too many games, even ones where a team dominates and, it might have been one or two players. Speaking of domination, though, both stats-wise and, IGL play-wise, Penguin, we're going to have to talk to him, ask him a few questions.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Egan, congratulations on that first one. I got to ask you, how does the new home feel? How is it with the 4 new teammates?
It's not bad. It's fun to play in like a different environment, I guess, like playing with PB for like 2 years. Like it's the same like repetition over and over, but it's like new. It's like a breath of fresh air, I guess.
How much leeway do they give you to impose your game onto the team?
I mean, like a little bit. That like garage run with the Sense, Capital, Glass. Like we can get creative like that, which is nice that they allow. Because I mean, like with PB, like there was lots of roster changes every season, so it made it hard to like come up with crazy things to run. So I think it's a lot easier in CL now, just with this team.
And I gotta ask, I don't know if you personally or if other players maybe look back at certain moments as turning points in games, but that Frost mat, what was it, round number 10, when Afer was diffusing, that do you look at a moment like that and think, man, that could have we could be looking at a completely different game, as well as you guys played. I mean, Arial Arise was right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess that's like the MVP, but genuinely, like if you look at most of their attacks, I think they kind of got like some ridiculous rounds, we'll say, where it's literally like a guy just walked in the site and won his first gunfight, and just because that's how the meta is in Siege, that's just how it goes. So I think like a lot of their rounds like that they got was just them like rushing and they won the pick. I don't know. I think like if they don't get the first pick on those rushes, they kind of get stomped at the door. But just how it goes, I guess.
Well, I mean, our analysts and casters said it as well. This game was not without its silly, goofy moments. But thank you, Keegan, and I have no doubt we'll be talking again.
Yep, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, dude. You love to see the success with the return to CL for Penguin there. Wow, what a day. 4 matches up, and guys, I gotta say, not that I want to knock the other play days, but I think today was pretty good overall. I don't think you could ask for 4 matches, 4 different maps. It's gone so well.